everyone. My name is Bill McCartney. I'm the Regional Vice President for Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage for Long Island and Queens. And today I'm here with Rose Sidotti, who is the branch manager of our Setauket office.
Hi.
So what we wanted to do was put this together so that we can help to educate our consumers. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to, I guess, own their first home, but then also that buyer who's looking to sell a property and then buy another home? Because they're two different situations.
Well, my first advice to a first-time home buyer is to work with a Coldwell Banker professional.
Well, that sounds obvious, right?
The other thing is to be financially prepared.
Okay.
Speak to your loan officer and have him do his due diligence to ensure what you can afford.
Okay.
And then, most importantly, commit to the process. And what I mean by that is, when something comes up, you really need to prepare to drop everything and go and see the house.
Okay.
Because if you wait until you're good and ready to do that, chances are the house will no longer be available.
Right. And I'm hearing too that there's a shortage of supply, in the market, right? So if there's somebody who's looking for a home and they're in a certain price range, they might only have a handful of homes to look at. And
Right.
There's a lot of buyers that are all looking at those homes as well. So when something really good comes up, it gets very competitive.
It does. First of all, I would strongly suggest that they need to learn to compromise a little bit, because they're not going to get everything they want in their first home.
Okay.
And the other thing is, be ready
it's
for...
not like HGTV?
Not at all. The other thing is, be ready for a bidding war.
Okay.
You may have to offer, above asking price to get it.
Okay. And I guess it would make sense then too, you kind of brought this up a little bit with doing your due diligence and talking to your loan officer. So if you have all of your ducks in a row, you actually become a much better buyer to the seller, right? Because
absolutely.
you have your loan approved, you have everything in play, and you become a much easier transaction for a seller to accept.
Absolutely.
So now let's say, you're on the opposite side of this in a sense where you have a property to sell, but you want to buy another home. So I understand it's probably a lot easier now to sell a house, right? But as we discussed, buying a home can be a challenge because of a shortage of supply. Now, within certain price points, it's a little bit different. So you'd have to talk to your agent to really kind of analyze what's happening specifically, right, in that market for you. But what kind of advice would you give somebody who wants to sell and then also buy?
Well, I know that most sellers want to see what's out there before they actually put their house on the market. And I don't advise that, because let's just say they do find the house of their dream. They can't really do anything about it.
Sure.
Because they haven't listed their home yet. They're not even in contract.
Okay. But I guess it adds a level of comfort, right? Where at least they know if they're going to sell their house, there's a place they could go. True,
but that house more than likely won't be there by the time they sell their house. And that's another reality that they need to understand.
Right.
First thing is, get a Coldwell Banker agent who will list your home and will price it correctly so that you have an opportunity to sell it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Once you're in contract, you can go out and shop around for your new home.
And then you become a buyer.
Now you become a buyer, and you become a strong buyer, because once you put that offer in, you're also communicating to the seller that you're in a position where your home is already in contract.
Right.
You got another month before you close, or another month or two before you close on it. You become a more attractive, stronger buyer.
Okay.
As a result of that.
And I know, I've heard this from the field too. Like, I think a lot of sellers are feeling like, I don't want to be left homeless. Now, have you ever left a person homeless before?
Never.
Good.
Never happened.
That's not what we do, right?
No.
Right.
We always come through.
We look at the big picture and we kind of negotiate those terms that are going to work for that seller.
Right.
Work for them as a buyer as well.
Yeah.
To make this process as smooth as possible for them.
Absolutely.
Right. Now it's an emotional process. And I know, when people look at their home, they look at the real estate market, they see the real estate market from the perspective of their living room, right? But there's homes that are coming onto the market, going to contract, closing really like every single day in our market. So it's very fluid. What kind of things do the agents do to guide their sellers, I guess, through these different things? Like, do they keep them up to date on what's happening? Like, maybe talk a little bit about that, just so that like somebody who's thinking about selling would know what to expect once they've listed their home.
Well, we do keep in touch with the sellers and kind of start feeding them information as to how the market is doing. We give them suggestions on how much they should list their house for,
Okay.
and why we come up with those numbers. We show them physical, comps so that they understand, the value of their home versus someone else's home and the difference. The other thing is we have market analysis reports that we can email them on a weekly basis to keep them updated on how the market is doing,
Okay.
to encourage them to, get started in the process.
So it sounds like they're getting constant and consistent updates while their home's being marketed?
Absolutely, and that's
Okay.
through the help of our, market leader and our tools, our
Right.
marketing
The
tools.
different analytical tools that we offer our agents. Awesome. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, Rose, whether it's to get into the real estate business, to buy a home, or to sell a home, I know you wouldn't be competing with your agents, but you can help that new agent. Who should they reach out to? Should they reach out to you?
A homeowner, or
Anyone.
like someone who's interested.
Yeah.
They would reach out to me, and I would get them started right away. I would
Okay.
lead them to wherever they are. If they don't have their license yet,
Right.
then I would suggest certain facilities that they can start.
So you walk them through that process.
I'll walk them through the
And if a
process.
buyer calls, you can put them in touch with an agent. And if a seller calls, you put them in touch with an agent
Of course, yeah.
who would be best suited. Now, what should they do? Like, should they just call the office? What's the phone number to the office?
The phone number to the office is
hope you know that one.
631-941-3100.
Okay.
They can ask for Rose Sidotti, the branch manager.
Okay.
And I would normally speak to that person. If it's a buyer, I would ask questions and try to get an idea of what they're looking for, and I would set them up with the perfect agent that could help them get to the house of their dreams.
Well, that's awesome.
If it's someone who's interested in joining us as an agent, I would walk them through the whole process and get them started on their new career.
Excellent. That sounds exciting. So if you're interested in a career in real estate, if you want to buy a home, sell a home, give Rose a call. Use a Coldwell Banker agent, because I believe that they are absolutely the best. And because they have the support and the tools, we can only help our consumers that much better than most of our competitors.